Hey, okay, welcome back. The next video is going to be a slight variation to the first one. What do I mean by that? So I'm just going to show you. Okay, that I have this basic shape here. Okay, and what happened is that I'm just gonna make one cut across the eraser. Previously, I asked you to do two cuts, right? So I'm just gonna do one diagonal cut, and to make it angled, right, I'm gonna make sure that the positions are different. Okay, what do I mean by different? So imagine that this is being cut. You can see how it doesn't quite align to each other, right? And that already in itself tells me that it's gonna be a kind of a weird cut. So I'm gonna use this as my case study first. Why is that? Okay, because to help you to understand how things relate to each other in 3 dimensions, okay, it is useful to understand them as points lah. So same thing. One thing I'm going to do differently now is that I'm going to actually pull these two shapes apart. Okay, as following what I've asked you to do. Okay, so I'm just going to draw the first shape first in a slightly darker color, like so. Okay, and pardon me if it's not perfect. Doing this on the iPad, and the stylus is not exactly very tactile. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull the first shape apart. Oh, you can see how it comes apart. This is the same shape here. Okay, so it looks weird, right? It looks wonky, and that's normal because you cut it at a weird angle, or rather I cut it at a weird angle. And I'm just gonna draw the same thing, another layer. Right, the marvels of technology allows me to do this. So you don't quite have the same luxury because you're doing this on paper. Okay, in time to come, when you have your own digital device, PLD, hopefully it's an iPad, we can do this too. So yeah, having said that, you can see how these two shapes are now drawn. Okay, and once I've pulled them apart, this is no longer dotted line because I can now see them. I can now see the shape. Okay, so how does each of these shape look like, from an orthographic projection? So I'm going to pull them slightly apart. You can see how they relate. And I will draw them separately. Separately. I will draw only the first shape because otherwise the video might take too long. So I'm just going to keep the first shape, and I will now remove the second one. And the same thing will now happen. I will now use this as my base for my orthographic projection, and I'm only going to focus once again on the points. Same thing, I'll use red color, so for consistency. And I'm also going to number them 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and I'm going to project it downwards like so. Oops, my number 1 disappeared. Okay, and I only see the 3 faces. Okay, in this case, can I see the 4th dot? The answer is not really, because if I project it this way, it will be obscured by number 3, okay, at the bottom. So I will now pull it to the bottom, draw a straight line across, connect the 3 dots like so. So this is point 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so just so that we are clear, this is the base. Okay, it's going to use red lines to show it. Okay, pardon the untidiness for now. Just want to make sure I get the point across. And I'm going to use blue again for the top. Now, you notice how this is vastly different from the first video that I've shown you. So here, we have a shape that is bigger, okay, than the base. So one thing is for sure is that the height never changed because the eraser started as a cuboid. We can use that to our advantage. Okay, and the first point, okay, blue, the first blue dot, I'm going to call that 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so blue 1, right, is directly above red 1. And I'm just going to draw a dotted line so you can see it's exactly aligned because that never changed. Fortunately for us, point number 2, blue 2, is also on the same alignment, vertical alignment as red 2. The tricky part comes at point number 3, because as it goes down, you notice that actually it's no longer aligned, it's further out to the right hand side. And that's fine, right, because it does look further. So now I'm going to connect all the 3 dots together because this is the height. The height, H, it never changed. This is H, right? Which stands for height for the eraser, this component. So I'm just going to use this orange yellow line thing again to show you how it comes together. So this face, I'm just going to do the same shading as done before. This face relates to this one right here. Okay, and now I will show you the part that probably a lot of you will be confused with, which is what happens to the back. I told you to draw the back, right? And you see I've actually already started drawing point number 4. Point number 4 here ends here. So I'm just going to draw an open circle. So this is an open circle, this is a closed circle. So an open circle to indicate that actually it's at the back. And I will do the same with blue now for point number 4, blue 4. So it goes down all the way down, and it relates somewhere here on this point. But we can actually be smart about it. If you look carefully, right, actually you notice that this line is parallel to this line. So red 3 to blue 3 is parallel to red 4 to blue 4. Okay, so if you're smart about it, it's thereabouts, right? It's almost perpendicular. Sorry, not perpendicular. It's almost parallel to each other, right? If I draw the arrows to indicate that they're parallel, so you notice how actually all the points relate to each other in some way, right? Having said that, we will now move on to the next and probably the harder part of this activity, which is what probably got a lot of you really confused. So once again, I'm just going to do some annotation bottom, okay, and we're going to do the right hand side first. So we're going to project point a red 2 to the right, like so, okay, and red 3 as well, down, okay, and then now I'm going to do red 4. Okay, so this is the part, please listen carefully. You will probably get lost if you don't listen carefully. And I want you to, you can pause the video, rewatch this part, okay, a few times if you don't understand. But let's just go ahead regardless. So this is number 2, point number 2, 3, and 4, red 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so the difficult part is this, right? Just now, or rather the previous video, we were talking about how the red and the blue are aligned. In this case, right, only point red 2 and blue 2 are aligned. You can see that, okay, from the front view, they are definitely aligned. Okay, how do I know that? I put the numbers in 1, 2, 3. Okay, so points number 1 and 2 are aligned, the blue and the red. So in this case, you can see that the red 2 and blue 2 still keeps its alignment. Now point number 3 is the problematic one. So what is the problem here? The problem now is that we actually don't really know where is it in space. So it could be here, it could be here, it could be here, it could be here, right? And that is a problem. So I'm going to teach you this method, okay, which requires you a little to use a little bit of estimation, and also to use a little bit of your eyes, okay, which is why this whole module is about you. Not this module, this lesson is about you learning how to see and not just what you think you see. Okay, so if you look carefully at the eraser, okay, you will notice that all points on the line, I'm not specifically looking at this part, points 2 to 3, okay, all points on this line can be here, can be here, can be here, okay, it relates to a specific point to the base. What do I mean by that? I'm going to choose an arbitrary point here. I'm going to choose this point right here. and I'm going to call this 5. Okay, 5. So point number 5, if you point it downwards, it actually relates to a position at the bottom, at the base. Okay, and just so that I avoid confusion, I'm also going to change the color to red. So this is actually red 5. You see that? So if I have a point at blue 5, it actually I know that it points down to red 5, right? So I'm going to use this method to find where point number 3 is. So I will now use the information of the height that I've known previously, and that is that point number 3 dot 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 dot, this is the height, right? Okay, I'm going to change a different color because I think can't really see that. I'm going to use green, okay, a new color. So this is the height of the eraser at point number 3. And if we were to draw an imaginary line like that across, like that, joining it, this green dot is where exactly below blue 3, right? And fortunately for us, we can actually relate this point here. This is now our point blue 3. So I will now change this to blue. How do I know that this is blue 3? Once again, if you're still following, this distance from point 2 to 3 is marked by the same distance, the difference between this red 3 and blue 3. So to know that I'm correct, I simply measure off the same distance here. Okay, so this distance and this distance should be the same, right? And this is what it means to be seeing from an orthographic projection. So you always relate with the information that you know, and you must learn how to see this. Okay, so for now I will keep the green lines because I want you to make reference of it. And also we will be also using that to find our point number 4, blue 4. How do we know where blue 4 is? So you can see blue 4, okay, and blue 3 are kind of further out, right? Further out of the base. So using the same method, I will use the green color again because I think it's easier to see. So this green color, once again, if I were to extend the baseline further out, okay, I can actually draw as far as I want. Doesn't matter, okay? And I use the same information of the height. So let's say this is the height, okay, of the eraser. How do I know that they're the same? I mean, right now I'm just estimating. You can actually measure this. So this green line that I've just drawn, this line here, I'm going to call this H as well because this is supposed to be the height of where point 4 is, right? And you can see that it's actually further out than the red number 4. Okay, so I'm going to draw a dotted line again. It's further than red number 4. Okay, so it's not on top of red number 4, it's further. Using the information, I will now point a dot down to where the height is supposed to be. This is the height. Okay, and now I connect all 3 dots together. Now I can actually complete my shape by joining blue 4 to red 4, blue 3 to red 3, blue 2 to red 2. Okay, so I hope that wasn't too confusing because we're going to add one more piece of information now. At any point if you're confused, please revisit, okay, rewind the video. It's fine, you can watch this as many times as you want. Okay, but what I want to show you is where is point number 1. Same thing, I'm just gonna do dotted line from red 1 and it goes all the way down to the base. Boop. Okay, and I'm gonna use the open circle to denote point number 1. Now I will use an open blue circle to denote point blue 1. And I know because they are actually aligned vertically, blue 1 should be here. Okay, and therefore my invisible line, or the so-called the X-ray vision line for point number 1 is actually here. Okay, can just so that we are really clear on this, I will show you the other side. Okay, the left hand side of this image here. Okay, I hope you're still with me. If you are lost, I completely understand. It's not easy for the first time, especially. But we will keep pressing on. We will keep trying another example. What I've just drawn here is point red 4. I realize the 4 might be a bit small, so let me just make it really obvious here. Red 4, this point right here. Okay, and I'm projecting that along with red 1 down and red 2. Can I see red 3? Not really, because in this view, I should not be able to see red 3. If I do, it's because I have X-ray vision. But since all of us are regular human beings, we can't see this kind of thing. But with practice and learning, you can have X-ray vision, which is what we're doing now. Okay, so this is point number 4. This is 1. This is 2. And once again, one thing that we know for sure is that the height of the eraser never changed. So it's about here. Okay, and I'm going to use what I know. So point number 1, blue 1 and red 1 never changed. Okay, fortunately for us, red 2 and blue 2 are also aligned. I'm going to connect that one. Now the tricky part is, where is blue 4? Okay, where is blue 4? So because of the green line that we have drawn, I can actually use that. You see that? This green line that we have drawn previously, I will now use a deeper green, slightly darker green, so that you can see which position I'm talking about, this dot right here. And this position, right, is the same position that we used just now to find where the placement of blue 4 is supposed to be. You see that? Okay, so at this point, even though this is at the height of the base, which is at the lowest part, the bottom, so to speak. Okay, so I'm just going to write down this is the bottom. But it relates to the placement of point blue 4 right here. Okay, and now I can connect the dots, and I can now also construct the rest of my shape. So this has to be straight because they are vertically aligned. Point blue 4 and red 4, therefore I'm only showing this much. Okay, so far so good. So if you have drawn dotted line from here, this point on, or like that, unfortunately it wouldn't be correct. Okay, and the first thing I know is that you did not use the projection or the placement of this point to help you find the location of red and blue 4. Okay, so I should also shade this just so that you know that red 1, blue 1, red 2, blue 2. Okay, I also shaded. Yeah, so they are the same face. Okay, since we're at it, let me just show you the last one, which is the last face. So at this point, I think if you still don't understand, I urge you to rewatch the video. Don't watch the third video first, because I think you will just probably explode or something. Okay, so don't do that. I don't want you to explode. I want you to still be in one piece. Not the manga, not the anime. Okay, just be in one whole. So what am I doing now? I'm just gonna quickly do it because I think you understand the logic already. Based on what you see from this view and this angle here, you should be able to relate that this is red 1, this is red 4, and this is red 3. Okay. Oh yeah, so if you're wondering why are the numbers upside down, it's because I'm turning my iPad around, just like how you would and you should turn your paper around. If you haven't been doing that, you're probably doing it wrong. And probably it's either you didn't quite understand the instruction, or that maybe you just didn't know how to do it. But it's okay. That's why I'm making this video anyway. Okay, so using the first information that we had, which is blue 1 and red 1, I can now put in the dot of where blue 1 is supposed to be, because I know where the height is. The height never changes. So at this point, you can also do these lines to relate to all the drawings that you have seen so far, or seen and drawn so far. I hope you're drawing along with me. Okay, if not, then I would like you to try. Okay, and so the good thing about this is that the green dot that we have drawn before is still fairly useful here because I can project it downwards, and this will tell me exactly where, okay, the height of point blue 4 is supposed to be, right? And I just drawn a blue dot for that. So you might be wondering at this point, wow, so far away, is this correct or not? Okay, it is correct, and I know that because this distance relates to this distance in this view. Okay, so that has to be correct. It is okay if you think it's a little bit strange, but let's just press on and find the height, the placement for blue 3. So by now you should know that you should not be using direct referencing from this point, but because this is in a view that is kind of angled to the front, and fortunately for us, this dot right here corresponds to the height of blue 3. Okay, so because we have done that just now, we have already saved ourselves some work here. Okay, now I just need to connect blue 4 to red 4, red 3 to blue 3, and that's it. These are our basic shapes. One thing is missing, is the dotted line, the information that you're not supposed to see from the front. Okay, and in this view, it's just actually supposed to be where this line is supposed to be for blue and red too. Open circle so you can see. Okay, I'm just gonna use this color because I think you already understand. At this point, if you still don't, just rewatch the video. Okay, and I think yeah, for point number 3, on the left hand side, okay, is missing as well, so I'm just gonna put that in really quickly. So point number 3 is here, right here, open circle 3, and the top of 3 relates to the bottom, which is the green dot that we've just used just now. Right here, this is open, also 3, so this is dotted this way. Okay, so I hope this makes it very, very clear for you how to approach drawing orthogonal projections for a slanted angle shape like this. Okay, this is only one part of 3 erasers. Okay, and mind you, just now we were doing with this one other shape as well, right, which we are not going to include, okay, for this demonstration. But you can imagine if I have another shape here, how would that impact the way that it's supposed to look like, right? It's basically just adding more information. Okay, so I will leave you to it. The third video is actually a bonus video, okay, of how we can use this skill to draw almost anything. Okay, so I'll use an example of a human head, right? Hopefully I don't butcher the head, right? You just need to see how it's being applied. Okay, and see you in the next one.